Hey, are you an entrepreneur on your path of building your first or next six-figure business? Do you have a community of people with success and the direction that you want to go to hold you accountable and develop you to be the best entrepreneur you can be? Well, if you don't have consistent development or community, I'd like to invite you. This is one of the main reasons 90% of entrepreneurs fail at business. They don't have consistent development or community. Entrepreneur Zero to 100 is the place for those specifically on their path of creating a six-figure service-based business. And inside Entrepreneur Zero to 100, we cover things like building the perfect offer to have clients rolling through the doors, money mindset so you know how not to fumble the bag once you get it, systems and hiring virtual assistants to automate your business, sales and building your own sales teams, social media and creating content that sells, weekly group coaching calls. You even get a one-on-one call with myself once per month to ask any questions and peel back the layers in your business. And too much to cover here. If you're interested in joining, it is only $1 to join for a limited time using our $1 promo code. This will give you access to our weekly live group coaching calls where you can get your questions answered, and you also get to meet and connect with other entrepreneurs on the inside. To take advantage of this offer, send me a DM on Instagram at _Justin Carter, or you can visit our website at www.pivotbizz.com/EZ100 for more information. Link is also found in the show notes. What is going on, my beautiful people? Welcome to yet again another episode of the Pivot Mindset Podcast. My name is Justin. I am your host. And before we jump into the episode today, I just want to encourage you that we still early on here. While you're thinking about it, go ahead and give this podcast a rating and review. Truly, this is the only way that this podcast grows is by you sharing if this is helping you to other people. So I'm just kind of asking for two favors. One, if you haven't already given this podcast a rating, please do that on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. If you're on YouTube, shout out to the YouTube community, people that are checking this out on YouTube. Go ahead and give this video a thumbs up, and feel free to share it. If there's anything that I'm saying that's blessing you, that's encouraging you, that's strengthening you, feel free to share it. Share it with people, because this is, again, the only way that this podcast gets out. So I wanted to just encourage you to do that. But without further ado, let's jump into the episode. So this episode today, we're going to be diving a little bit deeper into money mindset. So if any of you checked out our last episode, you know that we were talking about the topic of money mindset. And really, that last episode, we just peeled back the layers of why you may have issues or challenges with your mindset around money. So much of our life, so much of what we're trying to accomplish, especially around our finances, have to do with our mindset. It's not as much about the material aspect of the finances, like how much money you make, how much money you're budgeting, all that kind of stuff. That's all important, absolutely. But one of the biggest struggles is our mindset around money and how we think about money, how we process money, our relationship with it, what we've experienced, what we've seen, how we've seen money be treated, etc. So what we realized was that I can help you get to the bag. We can talk about strategies on how to build your business, how to make more money, X, Y, Z. But it's not until you cover all the holes that are potentially in your boat that when you make the money, you'll be able to keep it. And so I want to make sure that as you are scaling up and as you're building your life and as you're going to the next level, that you're doing it with the proper foundation so that you can sustain what you're building. Okay. So that's really what these two episodes are about. So if you haven't checked out the part one, go check that out. This is part two. Part one, we dove deeper about what money mindset was, what are some of the challenges, and really like what things may be like that you may not even been aware of that might be holding you back from a money perspective. So go check that out if you haven't yet. This is part two. And in part two, we're going to be diving deep about how to get out of and how to develop and how to evolve, really to get delivered, if you will, from the money mindset and the challenges that you may have around money mindset. So I want to first start this off with journaling questions. Okay. So we taking it deeper today. We're taking it deeper. We're giving you journaling questions. That's right. And I believe though, I can talk at you, right? I can give you information, but that information isn't going to be applicable until you really do the internal work and start to tie it to your own life and where you are today. And I believe one of the most powerful tools to use is journaling. So that's why I'm going to be encouraging you to journal, especially around this topic, because you just got to sit with yourself a while. Like you just got to sit with the reality of where you are, and you may not know where that is. So I think these questions I'm going to give you are going to help you unpack that. So let's dive into, I believe there's going to be 5 questions that I'm going to give you. So the first question is this. On a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate your relationship with money? 10 being the best, 1 being the absolute worst. Scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate it? Question number 2, why did you rate your score this way? What was your rationale? What was the thing you used to determine that score? Number 3, if money was a person, how would you define your relationship with him or her? Is this a healthy relationship? And is this relationship one-sided? And then the last one is, how could your life look different if you had a different relationship with money? What would things be and look like if your relationship with money was different? All right. So I want to start off with this fact that really the way of building wealth and the way of having success is that you've got to start tapping into a level of faith that you may not have at this moment. And I want to give you grace. I want to give you some space to be able to develop that faith, whatever that may be for you, whatever you may need. But you've got to understand the fact that what you've created, like if your mindset isn't good around money and you don't have the money that you want and you don't have the money in the bank you want, you're not making the money per year you desire, you created the life you're presently living by doing what you've done, how you've always done it, right? You've created that. You've created the life you have by who you've become. And so when you make a no-nonsense decision that you're going to get rich, that you're going to build wealth, you may not see solutions or opportunities immediately. Like you may make the decision, but the opportunities may not necessarily appear right off the bat. This is because you are often so focused on the what it should look like, what things should be, how you're going to make it, like what job I should have, what career I should be in, where I should live. You're so focused on the what, it can sometimes be hard to recognize the how of it, right? That God is excitedly wagging in your face. And I think that this is a piece that when you really become aware, really self-aware, and you really have the proper lens, you actually start to see opportunity all around you. Like opportunity will exist in every single thing. So much so that you'll have to begin filtering what opportunities you take advantage of, because there's going to just be a plethora of them. And so what faith does is faith shifts your focus off of your path, your old way of doing things, and it opens you up to new opportunities and new hows that will create a new reality for you. You can literally begin to build new neural pathways in your brain that will allow you to have much more wisdom, much more discernment, much more clarity on what this path forward looks like. But there's a level of faith that this requires. And the first thing you've got to do, and I talked about in our last episode, is I believe often we have to forgive ourselves of the money mistakes that we made in the past. And those money mistakes being things that will hold us back because you haven't forgiven yourself yet. And so as you try to walk into a new season of life that is being stifled and torn and ripped away because the person that you desire to be, you don't look at in the mirror. You see in the mirror. And so you almost feel like an imposter of the person that you say you are versus the person that you might feel internally. Forgiveness will help you get through that. You've got to forgive yourself around the money mistakes that you made in the past, okay? And so let's talk about attraction, because one of the limiting beliefs we talked about in part 1 was that a lot of people think that you have to make money. And money isn't made, money is actually attracted. Money is attracted by the person you've become. And so if you want to make more money, you have to become more of a person, right? To get rich, here's the other piece, is you have to be okay with the idea of actually getting rich, right? Listen to your body. How does your body feel when you say, I'm rich? How does it, what is there a negative stigma attached to it? Do you feel confident when you say something like that? Or does it immediately separate you from you and the people that you love or the people that you know or the community that you were raised in or your background or your experiences? So there are people who believe that they are poor because rich people are rich. That's literally a perspective, right? And we're talking about money attraction. There are people out there that almost feel this crab in a barrel mentality. And they say the only reason why I'm poor, or the only reason why I'm living a life like this is because the rich just keep getting richer, right? There's this belief, there's this block that says I'm the way that I am because someone has taken all the resources. And so somebody has my resources, so therefore I'm not able to accomplish what I desire to accomplish, right? And so I've got a question for you though, right? Why can't your kids have the best stuff? These are questions that I had to ask myself when it came to being rich and building wealth. It wasn't just about what I knew money could do for me, but it was about my family and the people that I loved most having the best opportunities available to them. I'll repeat that again. It wasn't about the money aspect and getting rich. It was about allowing the people that I love the most to have the best opportunities afforded to them. Why couldn't my children go to the best schools? Why couldn't my children eat the best foods? Why couldn't my family drive in the best vehicles and live in the best homes that are placed in the best communities? Why do the people that I know, why do my family have to be middle class or lower class or whatever it is you are? Like, why does my family have to be subjected to that? My family, with the right mindset, my family could experience the best of the best. There's nothing different between the person that is the middle class person, right, that's living the average life, than the person that's living the top 1%. There's nothing necessarily different in the DNA of that person. They still got the same cells, got same skin, they got a brain, they got eyes, right? They have the same thing you got. Y'all, we all have the same thing. But what is different is the willingness to actually go for something that may not be presently viewable with your current perspective and your current eyes. And I think that's one of the biggest differences. And so I think one of the most important aspects of actually beginning the process of implementing these money mindset changes and changing your mindset around money is you've got to make the decision that my kids can have the best doctors. They can experience the best food. They can have the finer things in life. Will my kids have to hear the dreadful words, "We can't afford that"? Right? Like my kids may have to hear a lot growing up, right? But the last thing I want them to hear come out of their mother or their father's mouth is, "Sorry, we can't afford that." The only reason why I want to not give my child something is because that's not my desire for them, and it might not be what's best for them in that season. But it will never be because we can't afford it. That won't be why my kid doesn't get the car that they desire, or get to go to the school that they desire, or get to take the trips that they desire. It will not be because we cannot afford them. That will not be the reason why. And I believe it first starts with that decision. You have to make a decision that, nope, the buck stops here. That affordability would no longer be a question for me and for my family. We'll be able to afford whatever it is that we want to afford, right? That's a mindset. That's a stake that you put in the ground. And when you begin to put that stake in the ground, you begin to look through the lenses of opportunity and through the lenses of abundance and opulence. And so now everywhere around you, you see opportunity, and there's nothing that looks too hard or too big for God. And you start to move with that level of faith. And that's what I believe we finally start to move in the way that God has always called us to move, in that direction, in that way, with that much fire and with that kind of vigor. And so after today, I just believe that you're going to begin to attract money at a new level and stop making it. You're going to start attracting money at a new level. And we get paid in life in direct proportion to the resources and our ability to be resourceful. That's how we get paid in life, is based on our ability to be resourceful. And so when it comes to leveling up, you've got to start thinking to yourself, how resourceful am I? People at the bottom of the totem pole, they are the least resourceful. People at the top of the totem pole, they are the most resourceful. Now, make sure you're hearing my words. People that make the least amount of money in our country, they are the least resourceful. When I say resourceful, I'm not saying they're the least smart. They're the least hardworking. They're the least available. They're the least whatever. I'm not saying any of those things. I'm talking about simply resources. It's kind of the debate between the NBA and the WNBA, right? The NBA, the players in the NBA make significantly more than the players in the WNBA. Why? Because the NBA is so much more resourceful. It has stadiums, right? Like there's TV contracts, and the players in the NBA are entertaining. They dunk and they run really fast and they jump out the gym and they shoot 3-pointers from half court, right? There's a level of resourcefulness that the NBA has that the WNBA does not have. And so it's not to say that the women that are in WNBA don't work as hard as the men. It's not to say that at all. But when we talk about the resources that the WNBA pulls in versus the resources that the NBA, it's not even close. That is to me a good analogy on how to really paint someone who is resourceful versus someone who is not resourceful. And based on your resourcefulness will dictate how much money you attract in your life. And so here is the purpose of life. If you were searching for purpose, I'm getting ready to give it to you right now. Here's the purpose of life. When someone says they don't know their purpose, what they're really saying is, I don't know whose problems I've been sent to solve yet. I'm going to repeat this again. I'm going to rewind it back for you. This is what purpose really means. Purpose. When someone says, I don't know my purpose, what they are really saying is, I don't yet know whose problems I was sent here to solve. When you understand purpose, you understand that all of us were placed on earth to solve a problem. And when you understand your purpose, you have a very clear view of the problem that you uniquely are placed here to solve. And so if you're struggling with resourcefulness, it's because often we don't know whose problems we're linked to. Because the problems that you're linked to often dictate the wealth that you also have desire deep down in you to actually attract. And so when you start to learn whose problems you solve, that wealth that's deep down on the inside of you that you have vision for, that you got dream for, it begins to be unlocked because now you're finally moving in your purpose. You're finally moving in the thing that God placed you on earth for. And so here's step one. When it comes to purpose, right? When it comes to learning, like thinking through how to solve people's problems, right? Because your wealth, your success is going to be connected to the people's problems that you solve. So the first one is you've got to be able to create solutions for other people's problems. So moving forward, that's not my problem will not come out of your mouth anymore. After hearing this, it just can't. Because when it's everything is our problem, right? Every problem is somebody's problem. The only reason why problems exist on earth today is because people are not moving in purpose. When people move in purpose, there's no problems that need to exist or that should exist because everybody is placed here to solve a problem. And so the mindset of that's not my problem has to completely be disconnected from you, and you have to be always thinking from a solutionary perspective. What is the solution that can solve this problem? And maybe you might not be the solution maker. Maybe it's not you, but maybe you're the connector of the two, right? Maybe you can use your resourcefulness. You see a problem and you know someone who's got the solution, and now you're able to connect the two, right? This is called business. This is called outsourcing. This is called resourcefulness. We see this in just so many different areas and aspects of life, especially in business, right? So we got to be able to create a solution for other people's problems. Most people go to work, then they go to work again, then they go to work again, and they go to work 5 to 10 times before they get paid. That is what happens for most people. When you create a real solution, the desire is to create that solution in a way, because this is what rich people do. Rich people, they go to work, they get paid, they get paid 5 to 10 times or 100 times or 1,000 times before they got to go back to work again. What is the difference between the two? The wealthy person has created something that is outside of it that can run and operate without that person necessarily putting in legwork, putting in manual labor, manual time. Often the difference is that the poor are in this pattern of exchanging time for dollars and hours for dollars. And so they have to work 5, 10 times before they ever get paid for anything. But during the 10 times that they had to go to work and didn't get paid, every day they had bills coming in. They had to pay. They switched their light on. They flushed their toilet. They ran their car. They washed the clothes. They cooked food, right? Every day they spent money, but they only made money twice a month. But you spent money every single day of the month. How do you expect to ever get ahead, right? So you even have to change the way that you transact with money and how you make money. So that's the first one. We still talking about creating a solution for other people's problems. And we want to make sure that solution allows you to work, get paid, then go to work again. Get paid, instead of go to work, then get paid, right? We want to make sure that we reduce the time that you work in exchange for the pay that you get, right? When you first start, you might have to go to work before you get paid. That might be your rhythm. But the desire is to transition into this wealth and this opulent life. 2 is I need you connecting with people. We're still talking about how to really change your money problems and change your mindset around money, implement some of these strategies. Is you have to connect with someone. All the money you desire in your life is going to come by way of a person. There's no money that's ever going to come into your bank account or in your pocket that is not going to come from another person. Everybody in this universe, in this world, has your money. So if you think you're going to build wealth without connecting with people, you got another thing coming. So you got to connect with someone. You got to either start building partnerships, start building collaborations, right? You might have to get into your sales bag and start selling the thing that you've got. But your next step is always going to come by way of a person. So when you say you're not a people person, what you're really telling me is you're not a money person. Because you can't be a people person, or you can't not be a people person and still be a money person, because most of the money you're going to get, all the money you're going to get is going to come by way of a person. So if you're not a people person, 10 times out of 10, I'll say you probably aren't the best with money, or you probably don't have attracted a lot of money in your life if you're not a people person. Right? Let's become people. All right. And then here's number 3 is you have to contribute to someone. Right. So it's what we talked about in our part 1 was you've got to know that you don't reap a harvest without planting a seed. And the only way for a harvest to actually come up and be matured is if there's seed in the ground. And so as you are gaining and as you are growing and as you are developing and making more money and rising, you've got to be thinking, I gotta give back. I gotta pour in. I've got to make sure that I'm continually put seed in the ground so that I've got a big enough harvest to receive. Here's one of the biggest things that and this is something that I personally really like processing through now, is the level of investment that the next version of you requires. There is a financial level of investment that the next version of you really requires. I heard it said that the information to make $1 million, it costs really about $50,000. Get that. The information that you need to make $1 million costs somewhere around $50,000. And so if you can get your hands on $50,000 cash and give it to someone who can help you turn that into $1 million, or give you the information, the resources, the connections, et cetera, to help you make $1 million, that's all it costs is $50,000. And so if you reverse osmosis that, right, let's say to make a $500,000, you got to find a way to get your hand on $25,000 and get that $25,000 away to learn the information that you don't know to help you get the $500,000. Some people don't have the ability to make that jump to invest $25,000 in themselves. That's not a college education. That's the reality. And these are levels of investment that I'm looking at right now when it comes to, man, I know where I should be next, but there's something that I don't know that is going to require money to know, or people to know, or rooms to know, right? And so what seed can I put in the ground? What investment can I make that'll get me in these rooms, that'll connect me with these people so I can get the information that I know that I'm deserving of to be able to become the kind of person that will attract the kind of life that I want to attract, right? And so here's the last thing that I want to say. This is no offense to anybody, but I'm just trying to like really shake you for wherever you are. I've actually had a couple conversations probably in the last month or so. And I've noticed that there is this mindset. And really, I would call it, there is this epidemic going on where people are broke and busy. Like I'm like, hey man, let's connect. I love to support you. I love to help you. And their schedule is so full. They're so packed out. They've got all these meetings. They got all these events. They got all this stuff going on, but they're broke. And what I want to end with is that you cannot be both broke and busy. Go ahead and be broke. Just make sure you got an empty calendar. And if you're not busy, right? Like we gotta know that has to be the first thing that comes off the board. And so here's the other thing is so many people are so busy being broke that they don't have time to get rich. Don't let this be you. The broke life will suck you in, and you could literally have a schedule where you do not have enough margin in your schedule to get ahead financially. Because you work 60, 70, 80 hours a week, but you're not going anywhere forward. You're not getting ahead. You're living the same life, still living paycheck to paycheck. Why? Because you have not invested the time necessary to do the right actions to create the kind of life and the kind of wealth and the kind of riches that you desire, right? So make sure that you aren't so busy being broke that you don't have any time to get rich. Make sure you've got enough margin in your day, enough margin in your schedule to truly learn the information necessary to do the work to be able to get ahead, to build the kind of life that you know you're capable of, you know you're worthy of, right? And so, man, that's all I got for you today. This is part 2 of money mindset and really how to kind of get out of that mindset piece and a lot of development work that is so important to us really building the kind of wealth and the kind of life that we want to build. And so, as we always say here, Pivot, we really look to help you make life pivots. And so we always say that life is all about the pivots, and those who decide to make the pivots decide to become successful. I'll see you in the next episode. Peace.